As I now get to the 70 plus hour mark of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and I'm still nowhere near done as I go through fight uniques, elites, level up, class up, do side quests, and just thoroughly enjoy every single bit that I've played and the cinematics and the cutscenes and the excellence of this game. I am now asking myself, after I try to play something just a little bit different when it comes to action RPGs, when it comes to games, has Xenoblade Chronicles 3 completely ruined other styles of games for me? We're going to talk about that in just a bit and also a bit more. But before we do, what's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now let's go ahead and first start off with this discussion topic, discussing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and how awesome this game has been. I know I've talked about it quite a bit, but like I said, I am getting deeper into the game. There will be no spoilers here, so don't worry about that. But I don't think I've ever played a game where I'm 70 hours in and still as early in the game that I've been for an RPG and have not been tired of the game for like 1 second. There's always been like a little bit of fatigue that sets in for certain type of games. Heck, even Xenoblade Chronicles games in the past where I'm like, okay, this is kind of boring. All right, I'm kind of doing this over and over. All right, it's just this fetch quest, or that didn't really get me anything really good. And this is something that happens in pretty much all RPGs out there that have a 100-hour length or have like a 50, 60, 70-hour length. We're not talking about the smaller RPGs like Chrono Trigger when it comes to game length that don't have like a million side quests or a lot of extra things or a massive open world to explore. It seems like a lot of RPGs out there have a lot of meaningless quests, or the quests just aren't that great when it comes to anything outside of the main quests and some of the main side quests, whereas all the little stuff is just kind of boring and you just want to skip through it, but it does give you something. And I think that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has somehow fixed, for me, I'm not exactly sure how they do it, I'm diagnosing it, I think I have a good idea, but it's fixed pretty much the problem that I have with these massive open world games where there's 5 billion quests to do and all of that, by making the side quests almost like main quests. And I think some games, I think like Witcher 3, people have talked about that game does stuff like that, maybe even Cyberpunk to a degree, but I don't feel personally when it comes to Japanese RPGs, they've done an amazing job with the side quests being just as good, if not better, than the main quests, and having the tally of the time in terms of you exploring the land, fighting, doing everything that you do, all just flows to the point to where before you know it, you're 50, 60, 70 hours in, and you might have not even progressed the story past like the first bits of it. I mean, I'm still kind of early in it. So for me, it just seems like the time just goes by when playing it. And when I try to play a different game, it just doesn't feel that way when it comes to action RPGs. Now, there was a little bit of discussion, and there's been some discussion on games like Tales of Arise, for example, that came out last year, which was a major Japanese RPG, large-scale one, where it's an action RPG where you have a bunch of characters on your team. But that one, it's a bit different because you have a set number on the battlefield, then the other ones kind of hop in to assist, and then you can switch them if you want to. Whereas Xenoblade, you have all of your main party members, and then you switch out one hero for 7 total. So the scope of the battles seems even larger than a game that was built for PS4, PS5, Xbox Series, and all of that. So it's interesting to see when I go back and try that out, and I'm thinking, man, this feels just a bit less. This doesn't feel as epic or as good, and the side quests don't feel as good, and the open world doesn't feel as good, or it's not as interesting. So I'm wondering if Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has ruined the style of games like Tales of Arise for me and that type of game. So I'm wondering, I'm hoping that's not the case. I mean, we don't get many games like Xenoblade Chronicles on the Switch just in general. There's just not many games like Xenoblade Chronicles out there, period. A lot of developers have moved away from making a game like that. I mean, it has like a unique little MMO style kind of splashed into it. Obviously, it has the action RPG elements. It has a lot of variety of stuff, but like the Final Fantasy 12, obviously the first Xenoblade Chronicles, you just don't see unique RPGs like that. And it's a shame that more developers probably aren't going to make games like this and kind of go more towards the Final Fantasy 7 remake route, or even the Tales of Arise route, or the Scarlet Nexus type of game, or things like that. But man, it might have ruined, based on how high quality this game is. And let's just not talk about the story here. I think the story pretty much blows away almost every other Japanese RPG game that I've played for quite some time. It's just interesting, just overall. But what do you guys think about this when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 3? Is it ruining other types of games? Do you just see it as something separate? How do you feel about all of this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. We've got another big RPG game delay to next year. So we did hear about the game that was the Hogwarts Legacy. That game was delayed to 2023, with the Switch version even being delayed a bit further than that. Now we also have another delay of a highly anticipated game, at least for me, and that is Metal Slug Tactics, delayed to 2023. It's no longer due out this year, boys and girls. This game was looking really good. Publisher Dotemu and developer Lekir Studio, and I probably pronounced that wrong, have delayed strategy RPG Metal Slug Tactics from its previously planned 2022 release window to 2023. Now, and here is what they had to say in a tweet. Marco, Eri, Theo, and Tarma are tinkering away to make Metal Slug Tactics as explosive as possible on release, but the squad needs a bit more time in the shop to prepare for the battles ahead. Dotemu said in a tweet, "See you in 2023. Now, Metal Slug Tactics will be available for the Nintendo Switch and PC via Steam in 2023. I'm guessing that it's going to be early 2023, and it follows the trend of Dotemu and how they pretty much delay almost all of their games. I know, like the Shredder's Revenge, I think the Streets of Rage, all of those got delays and stuff like that. So that's pretty much on cue for these style of games for them, and it makes sense. Usually they're working with smaller teams, and they want to make sure that when they release the game, it's as good as possible. So it's not just the big developers that are making the big blockbuster games. Heck, game develop is hard. Even the smaller developers that are doing the pixel art and stuff like that need extra time to make sure that the game is in tip-top shape and the game is really good. So to me, it makes sense. I was looking forward to playing this strategy RPG later this year, but if I'm going to keep it honest here, guys, and you know we do that here on PlayerEssence, we always do that, there is so much to play this year on the Nintendo Switch. I'm okay with a few games getting delayed. We've got Persona 5 Royal coming. We've got Nier Automata coming. We've got Bayonetta 3 coming. We've got Mario plus Rabbids coming. We've got Splatoon 3 coming. We've got a new Kirby game launching this week on the 17th. New Kirby game as well. So there is plenty to play in 2022. Plus the huge game Xenoblade Chronicles 3 that we just talked about is still there for people to play. So I think that this is obviously something, for me at least, that I don't really mind. A lot of these games getting delayed, stuff like Hogwarts Legacy, other type of titles getting delayed, it's fine by me because there is plenty to play in 2022 in my opinion. Or you can go back and check out some of the games that you missed. Maybe if you didn't play Pokemon Legends Arceus or Kirby in the Forgotten Land, or maybe you want to try out Nintendo Switch Sports now that it has more content in there, or maybe you want to go check out Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. There's just so much different games to play, and I highly suggest if you skipped out on Triangle Strategy, well, you might want to substitute, that game in. If you're looking forward to this strategy RPG, check out Triangle Strategy if you missed it earlier this year. That game is phenomenal. Check out my review on the channel if you haven't seen it yet. So, what do you guys think about another RPG wave of delays? Upset about this one here with Metal Slug Tactics? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here, Genshin Impact has announced version 3.0 update. The Morn 1,000 Roses brings. It's launching on August 24th. There's a new nation, characters, system, and so much more. They are doing some crazy things with this game, and I'll have a link for you guys if you want to check out all the additions and what they're doing with Genshin Impact. This game seems to be ever evolving like crazy, and fans are eating it up, and that's awesome. But we need to talk about something, because the reason why we need to talk about something is that there was about 2 years ago, 2.5 years plus, Genshin Impact Nintendo Switch official Japanese trailer from the official Genshin Impact channel, which by the way has 5.65 million subscribers. One of the biggest free-to-play games to ever launch, and the Nintendo Switch trailer, which was first debuted back on January 13, 2020, has over 2 million views. 2 million views, and when you type in the trailer, it pops up, and people are wondering, with their 15,000 plus comments, where is Genshin Impact for the Nintendo Switch? It is MIA. So I need to ask, what is going on with this game? Where is the Nintendo Switch version? They have not given us an update in quite some time. If they canceled it, or if there's an issue, then okay, they need to come out there and say that. If it's something that's taking them a little bit longer, okay, maybe they should come out there and say that, because they did announce the game and they haven't showed anything since then. So I do have a couple of theories on what is going on here with the Genshin Impact Nintendo Switch version. So they could be waiting for Nintendo's next system. Maybe there is a Nintendo Switch Pro, maybe there is a Nintendo Switch 2, maybe there is a revision and they're waiting for it to come out on that platform. That is one thing. Now the next thing could be that the game is just flat out delayed, and they're still taking their time to optimize it for the Nintendo Switch. However, I feel that if that was the case, they probably would have given us a development update at this point. Heck, even games like Shin Megami Tensei 5, which was a game that was announced in 2017, then came out in 2021, we did get updates in between at some point. Even if it was small little things here and there, we still got some updates. So I'm not so sure if it's that. Then there's also this, that the game was just canceled. It was just outright canceled. They didn't feel that they need to. Maybe they couldn't get the tech to work the way they wanted it to work on the Nintendo Switch, or maybe the eShop wasn't set up, or the monetization wasn't set up the way that they felt they can get the job done and make money effectively on the platform. So there's a variety of things out there that could potentially be it. I am going to lean towards maybe the first or the third option that I talked about, but you never know. It could just be like, hey, they're taking their time on developing it and it's still coming. Because I guess if you tweet them on Twitter or for something like that, or email them, I guess they say it's still in active development, but they haven't given any public out there trailers or anything talking about this and why it's taking so long or what is going on. So I'm hoping, with the Nintendo Switch now going past the 50-year mark now, this trailer being 2.5 years old for Genshin Impact on the Nintendo Switch, I'm hoping that they actually have an update for us later this year. Because every time I see these cool Genshin Impact version whatever updates, I've covered them in the past. I think that the game is cool for those that are into it, you know, and everything. But I'm still wondering, in the back of my mind, I'm like, what's going on with the Switch version? So I decided to talk about it and give you guys an update on what I'm thinking. So let me know what you guys think. Are there some things maybe that I left out here or that you feel is in play? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're someone new. Click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.